Alright, just got my warranty back from Holosun this afternoon for my EPS. Basically, I ran out of adjustments to change my point of aim and point of impact. I was shooting about a couple inches high at 25 yards, and I could not adjust my dot for elevation any further up to bring the dot up to meet the point of impact. I just ran out of adjustment. It wouldn't turn anymore. Before I did everything, I made sure there was no gaps, the screws were correct length. I even had a different adapter plate because I was running this one at the time. This is from Athena Precision. I ran a calculated kinetics plate. Same thing. Now, my 508T from Holosun, which I had before the EPS, ran fine. This is a loaner from a friend of mine. This is the Trijicon RMR, the auto adjust version. No issues either. Plenty of adjustments left. Matter of fact, I really like Trijicon's adjustment dials. They're a lot more tactile than Holosun's. Not that these are bad, but these are a lot better. Plus, you don't need their silly tool. But yeah, just got this guy back in the mail. Or not back, but this is a new model. Because I don't know if it's new, it could be refurbished, but it's definitely a different serial number. So just open this up today from the thing. Let's see. Normal Holosun stuff. Got your snack pack. A little microfiber cloth. Here's the EPS in red. This is the 2 MOA. Kind of nice to get a newish or newer one, even though mine didn't have any issues. You've got a plate if you need it, and their infamous little adjustment tool. And they have screws in here, but I won't be using them. Let's see. Here's a so I don't need those. But for the time being, I was using the Trijicon RMR on the Glock MOS plate. Luckily, mine wasn't bent or anything. I torqued it down to spec, no issues. But if you guys can tell, let's see if you guys can see the gap from the front, and then there's a bit of a gap. Not so much of a gap at the front, but there's a gap in the back. So you get a lot. It's not tight on the slide itself. Plus, I've heard these failing a lot. Plus, these screws that are on here are kind of suspect. I'm using the Glock MOS plate screws to mount the plate to the actual slide itself. But as you can tell, nothing loaded. This is not. No ammo is near me. Everything is safe. But I ran this a couple hundred rounds, no issues whatsoever. Surprisingly, the auto adjust ran really well. It's a little bit bigger dot. I noticed it, blooms out a little more than the 2 MOA dot that I'm used to on the Holosun. It's kind of hard to focus when I have such a close thing, but either way, let's get this guy taken off, and I will kind of go and replace it. But yeah, as I said, I was pretty surprised. Not surprised, but I was pretty happy with the way the Trijicon held up. I ran it at a drill night the other night and ran good. I wish I could kind of adjust it a little bit more manually, but obviously this one doesn't have manual adjust. But the auto adjust, it ran really well. It was a lot quicker than I expected. I've never used one that's strictly auto adjustments. But I'm using a Weha Torx 10-bit. These screws are a pack I got from Amazon. It's just a bunch from like CV Life. This was just to have some backups. But I wouldn't suggest you permanently having these. I would get nice reputable ones. So doing a fresh Duracell when I use this in. And that's the sealing plate itself. We'll put that to the side so I can send it back to my friend. And I'll send them this Duracell on the other one. But yeah, that's the Glock MOS OEM plate. Compared to, let's take a look, compared to the one I'll be putting back on there with my new dot. So this is the one from Athena Precision. This is made of steel, I'm guessing, but I think it's like stamped steel, something you might see like Hot Wheels made of. This is heat-treated tool steel. Let me get this taken off, so we'll take the T10s off. But yeah, didn't have any issues with these coming off. I witness marked the screws, at least the ones on the top of the RMR to my plate. Advantages of the MOS system, you're not stuck to one footprint. Disadvantages, you do have another point of failure. That is why it's super important to make sure you get these installed correctly. So this is the MOS plate. What's nice about it, it is, you know, it's aesthetically pleasing as far as looking like it, but you see the wiggle on there. I'm sure this one probably wouldn't have any issues unless like it was super hard use, but I didn't want to take the risk. Plus I've heard some good things about, you know, there's so many aftermarket plates and there's some good ones, but this one, that one doesn't budge at all. And you can see there's no much of a gap in the front back itself. Now one thing I will do is I will do a dry fit. The reason I'm doing that, because once I screw the dot plate to the plate, I want to make sure that the screw wasn't coming out the bottom, because then that would lift it off the actual thing and cause some alignment issues, if that makes sense. Another thing I like about the Athena Precision plate is you see that deep post, you get a lot more thread engagement through there. So let's make sure we get the right screws out. So this is the one that will connect the plate to the actual slide itself. All this comes with the plate itself, but this is strictly the MOS2 EPS K-cut footprint. So this is the one we use for the Holosun to the plate. But what I'm doing now is I'm initially just kind of making sure the screw doesn't stick out the bottom. I know it doesn't, but it's just to show you guys. So like I said, what I'm going to do is just a dry fit. Obviously we've dry fit it to there. Looks nice. But then I'm going to dry fit the plate. And there is no wiggle on there. So stick this on there. I'm not putting any kind of thread locker on it just yet, because I just want to see how the plate feels, or the screws engage. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe it'll become a little bit more apparent. Be careful for any kind of cross threading. So I'm not torquing it all the way down, but I'm just seeing if any of the screw sticks out the bottom of the plate. So as you can see, you got not a lot, but you do have wiggle room. None of the screws mounting the dot to the plate is sticking out. So that means you're not going to have the screws like hitting the plate or the slide and like causing some alignment issues. So we'll go ahead and take that off, and we'll get the thread locker. Out of the 5 or 6 dots that I've installed and used, I've not had any of them come wiggle loose. I have been using Vibratite. Some people recommend blue Loctite. I'm sure that works fine. What we'll do is degrease those, but there you go. So that's the Vibratite. So we're going to get these prepped. It's probably going to become a mess. But what you want to do is go ahead and stick it out, or get the Vibratite out, get it on the threads of the screw. Not too much. So this is going to be flipped to there. And then I will there shouldn't be any oil on there because I cleaned them before I bagged them up, but just so you can tell, just get some rubbing alcohol or acetone and just wipe those off to make sure it can I'm sure me touching it's not the best thing, but just get some. This is 90% isopropyl alcohol, but get any oils off there. There we go. I've never been able to get the Vibratite on there without making a bit of a mess as far as like getting it all over my fingers, but that's why I have a little mat there. But this is these little things aren't too expensive, and I've had this for a while. I did lose one of the bottles because I didn't close it up all the way, and all of it just pretty much dried up inside. Or I didn't have the cap screwed on all the way, but it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it really, but I will. Just gently squeeze it because it's going to want to pour out because of the pressure. And that should be enough for one of those. That's going to be the plate to the slide. And there you go. And you notice it's sticking, but what I'm doing is I'm letting it dry a little bit. And I've not really had to reapply it if I've ever had to take it off. I'm sure multiple, removals would cause you wanting to clean it off and add some more of it, but I haven't had really that issue with mine. You see, it's just sticking on to me. Alright. But I would, if you go with the reputable adapter plate, if you're having to use a plate for your red dot mounting, they should provide good quality screws. Another thing to think about is how your screws are countersunk. What I mean by that, if I can get this off my finger, just want to follow me along, see what I mean, guys? I suck at this. There we go. This, the way this is beveled, or the angle of how it slides in on like a Holosun, is different than say on a Trijicon. So the way the screw heads are countersunk is gonna make a difference as far as how much thread engagement, or just engagement you'll have with the screw itself. So I think one of them's 90 degrees, another one's like 80, 83 degrees. I forget which one or the other, but you don't really want to use, like, say, Trijicon or aim point screws on, let's say, a Holosun. I can't speak on some of the other companies, but that's the two main that I've used, so just be aware of that. There are companies that sell screws if you don't already have them. So this is Athena Precision. This is all steel. Let's go ahead and wipe off the top of the slide a little bit with some rubbing alcohol. Like I said, all the plates and the hardware has been cleaned before I bagged them up after I sent my Holosun back. But yeah, my Holosun was delivered to Holosun's customer service last Monday. Today is next Wednesday, so it took. But I got a notification from their customer service that they're mailing about Monday, and it got here in 2 days via FedEx. So now I'm just screwing this in, not all the way tight. And I think Athena Precision recommends 15 inch-pounds of torque, so definitely have a torque wrench. There's like a lot of nice fancy ones like Fix-It sticks. I have what's called a Wheeler bat wrench. I'll show you what that is. But I'll just get that tight enough. That ain't going anywhere. But what you'll do is they recommend this you store these when you're not using it at 0. So this is analog, but I'm raising it to right between the 10 and the 20, that little middle bar. That's around 15-ish right there. If that makes sense. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna once you hit that torque spec, it'll stop engaging and it'll just click. There you go. Already there. And then now here is the new Holosun EPS. Yeah, nice tight fit with the Athena Precision. So once again, we will... Oh, before I do that, let's witness mark these. Get your little paint marker. Shake it up a little bit. Get it started. And just mark it on your screw and your plate. let that dry a bit. That way, if you take it off for any reason, you can tell if the screws have turned or anything, if that makes sense. Let that dry for a second. But yeah, I even emailed customer service for Athena Precision about my elevation issue just to see if they ran into it. They were very nice and very responsive. I mean, I pretty much figured it was the dot. I read some places on like Reddit. Unfortunately, you get a lot of experiences from Reddit and stories where some people have had elevation issues or when they're just running out of adjustment. Now, things that could have caused it, other than the dot, bad plate, you could have had, like I said, if the screw was too long and was hitting the slide and lifting everything up, that could have been locked out of alignment. But I was like 2-3 inches high at 25 yards. I could not bring the dot higher to meet it anymore. I ran out of adjustment. So that's a good sign that it is a dot issue. And I looked for, you make sure there's no light gaps between the plate, and the slide as far as they're here, and the same thing when you put this on there. Just want to make sure it's all flat. No issues there, nice and flat. So now that we got that going, alright, so the Vibrotite's dried a little bit. It's a little bit more sticky. That kind of acts like, I don't know, like gum. So once again, I'm gonna screw it down, but not torque it down all the way with this screw on this. That's not all the way tight. Do the same thing for this one. Now tighten it all the way. Alright, and then it's already set to 15 inch-pounds. Check your manufacturer or whoever you may get your plate from for specs on how much to torque it down, but these you can get on Amazon for pretty cheap. Alright, there you go. Mount it back on there. And again, take your paint marker, make some marks. I would also suggest you do the same thing once you get the battery installed. Do the same thing for this. I would look at this at least daily. There have been stories of Holosun's battery tray screws coming off, and then they lose the battery. They will send you extra screws if you happen to lose it, but yeah, you need a battery for it. People complain about it, but honestly, if you just mark it and take a look, and I'll do that once I install the battery, you can tell if it's turning it all by itself. And also for your adjustment dials, once you dial it into your 0 that you are sure you want it, you can witness mark those. Just a little paint marker. You can get these at Walmart or any kind of art supply store. But yeah, put your stuff away. I've been very happy with the EPS. This is just a red. I've never tried a green dot. Differences with this, the window sizes, this one's a little bit bigger. Not noticeably, you guys can see the tallness. Obviously this one is not turned on. I don't have the battery. But this does sit a little bit lower, so it'll co-witness with my irons that I purposely got for this one. And I'm able to adjust it plus or minus. This is not the one with the, what do you call it, the solar backup or the multi-reticle. Maybe for beginners, a circle dot multi-reticles can be helpful, but for me, I'm used to just finding the dot. This is a 3.25 MOA dot, and this one's a 2 MOA dot. 3.25, this is 2. This one's starburst just a little more for me, and I can adjust it for certain situations, but obviously in a real life situation, you're not going to have that time. But like I said, I was very pleased with how well this auto adjusted by itself rather quickly, more quickly than I thought. Obviously, Like the new RMR HD, that one has a front-facing light sensor, and it's adjusts a lot faster. Disadvantages, you got to take it off to change the battery. But honestly, this thing, from what I hear, I didn't beat this up because it's not mine. They're built like tanks. I think their reputation is very well deserved. And I've not had any issues other than that elevation issue. And this is a new to me dot as far as this specific one. Not a new to me model. But yeah, what you want to do is let that stuff sit for about a day. If you use Vibratight or Loctite. And then go shoot, get it zeroed, and check those out. But that's it, guys. Just thought, since I had to install my dot again, that I'd just make a video on it. But let me know what you guys think, or if y'all would have done anything different. All right, peace.